What's the best possible outcome for the Denver Nuggets? My boy Ryan and I are here to talk about what could happen for the Denver Nuggets this season. 2024 is here. So we could actually talk about what are the best and worst case scenarios for the team, players, and what would be the ideal finals matchup to top this NBA season. Let's talk about that and more right now, Ryan. Ryan, what's up, brother? So how are
Man,
you feeling about 2024 for the Denver Nuggets? Are you excited? Are you nervous? What's going on?
yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that some of these teams that have shown up in the Northwest Division, the OKC Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're tough. Like they look really good, and they look like contenders in their own right. I
Yeah.
want to preface that, but all the other teams in the Pacific Division and the Southwest Division, they look a little shaky. And I think that the actual winner of the Western Conference is going to come from the Northwest. And it's just a matter of which of these three Northwest teams it's going to be.
So you think like Minnesota Thunder Nuggets are the team that you're not, and you think most likely to make it to the finals?
Yeah, I think that if you're gonna like look at history, basically, top three teams in the conference are the vastly most likely to make it to the NBA finals. And I know that regular season record isn't as important as it was, but I still don't look at the teams like the Suns and the Lakers that are like those teams and even the Warriors, teams that I think a lot of people expected to be in the mix. I don't see them as talented. I don't see them as kind of attention to detail wise. I think that the three teams in the Northwest are going to be the ones that come out of the Western Conference. I think it's probably Denver, but I also have some healthy respect for Minnesota and OKC just based off of how they've played.
Well, I mean, we just haven't seen them teams do anything. Haven't seen SGA in a playoff setting, Chet in a playoff setting, Jay Will in a playoff setting. None of them.
Sure.
And respecting Minnesota, they could be as good as they want defensively, but in the NBA playoffs, it's all about half court offense, half court defense. Now you can set your defense. Do you have enough shot making when it gets close in a fourth quarter setting to be able to put enough pressure on a team, have to change their coverages, or to where you're getting active shots that you want to get? And I'll say this: I have more confidence OKC can do that than the Timberwolves do because I think SGA arguably is a better pull up shooter than Anthony Edwards is, and then Chet Holmgren is also a better shooter finisher than Rudy Gobert is. And so that's what it's going to come down to. I think the other side of this is defensively they can lock in, but when I look just right now, when I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, I am not concerned right now about how they're going to perform offensively in a half court enough to say that they're going to be a team that's going to push people to the Western Conference Finals. They could, maybe, if the Lakers just don't get it together at all. But I do expect that they're going to rally by the end of the year. But yeah, I mean, the Thunder are legit. Now, I don't, Shea said he doesn't think the Thunder can win a championship this year or make the finals. So I think I agree with him on that because there's just levels to like when you get there, and then you have to fall on your face basically, unless
Right.
you're like
No,
the eight.
I don't disagree with that. I think that the Nuggets are the most complete team. They're the team that you have the least questions about. They're the team that you've seen do it. And I think with some of those other teams in the Pacific and in the Southwest, whether it's like the Grizzlies, I thought could have done something before they got hit with the injury bug at the beginning of the year, but like there's just no team in the Southwest. There's just no team really in the Pacific. Even the Suns and the Lakers that
Well, how do you feel about the Clippers though with
like,
James Harden?
yeah, you know what? That's one. I think that they are like they still have to prove it, man. Like it is still a team that is led by James Harden, and we've seen what James Harden does in the playoffs. And like I think that he leads that team even more than Kawhi Leonard does, who's kind of his own individual like anomaly
But
within
when's
that
the
group.
last time, if they're healthy though, which I know it's an if, but I'm saying, but that's them. Like, but if they're healthy, they're gonna have three really good shot makers, three elite pull up shooters. James Harden is shooting crazy as a pull up shooter right now.
It's been great.
Kawhi. So I mean, that's gonna be tough to beat for most teams in the Western Conference.
For most teams, I agree. They could be a team that, even if they're not in the top three, they could upset a team like Minnesota. They could upset a team like OKC because they have the veterans. They have
Hmm.
the some of the proven guys, not necessarily all the proven guys, because we're still
Right.
talking about Harden here. But I do think that Denver's really the only team that you could say, hey, we have the least questions about them. We've seen what Murray and Jokic can do in the playoffs offensively. and we've seen what this team looks like when they lock in defensively. So that's what I'm expecting from the Nuggets in 2024, man, is I'm expecting them to get out of the West still.
Yeah. So when you predict the Denver Nuggets awards, do you think there are any individual awards the Denver Nuggets are going to be up for, or any team awards the Nuggets will be up for by the end of the year?
Yeah, not I mean, Jokic obviously MVP candidate, like, that's going to be like, I don't know whether he's actually gonna win. Embiid has played great. He's kind of not on pace necessarily for playing as many games as I think might take in order to actually qualify for the award, but I think he'll probably still play upwards of 65 by the end,
He,
and if that's the
he
case.
sounds like he's actually pretty hurt right now, which is unfortunate because that
Yeah.
he missed 5 games now. I think because of the ankle injury.
And he had been like, I mean, I'm just gonna say he had been the best per minute player in the NBA up through the first 30 games of the season,
Hmm.
handicapped by the fact that he kind of skipped some of the toughest matchups on his schedule. So like I want to make sure like everybody knows that that's a thing, but I also think that it's important that when he does play, he has been dominant. So I think that he'll probably win if he stays healthy. If not him, then it's probably Jokic. But Giannis is creeping up in those standings. Luka's been fantastic. Shea's been fantastic. So Jokic is going to have some candidates that are kind of breathing down his neck here. I think that Murray is probably not going to make an All Star. I think he's probably not going to make All NBA. It's too bad that he missed a bunch of time because he has been great. He has been
Yeah,
really, really good.
missed 14 games. Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough. The Coach of the Year odds were put on Twitter the other day, and I asked a question. I don't think Michael Malone. I don't know if he ever's going to win Coach of the Year, but he's like a consensus top 4 coach, and that's for us. He's top 2. So
Right.
it's just insane that like it just doesn't matter what he does. Coach Drew Murray and Porter's injury, 2021, led in championship. They were the far and away number 1 seed in the West. Now this year they deal with Murray injuries, and then you got Peyton Watson and Christian Brown and Julian Strother contributing to a championship level team. The offense is still very good, but you know what? They've been a top 10 defense for basically every week of the year, except for like maybe 2.
Yeah.
But and there's only I think it's top 10 offensive defense is the 76ers, the Celtics, the Nuggets, and the Thunder. I don't know if there's any other teams in there right now. Maybe no, not the Heat. The Heat are 12th, I think, defensively right now.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but he's not in the conversation at all, and it's just so crazy to me.
Yeah, that's always just going to be a award where it's the most surprising team that you had lower expectations on than what actually happened. Like some of the OKC stuff and Minnesota stuff can be attributed to the development, but do the coaches get credit for the development of the young guys? Yeah, they should. They not all of it, but they should get some. And I think what Mark Dagnall's doing in OKC, what Chris Finch is doing in Minnesota, like they've turned around interesting situations pretty quickly and have done some great things. But I mean, we've seen what Malone can do in the playoffs coaching, so I'm not concerned about that in any way, shape, or form. He should get credited at some point, but then again, Eric Spoelstra never did.
Well, I think Eric just doesn't have like the regular season highs, and then when he did, he had LeBron.
Yeah,
So
and
that's the thing,
it's the same thing. Like
right? Yeah,
Jokic is going to take away from that.
that doesn't make any sense because if Giannis is the best player in the world in 21, well, then how is he winning Coach of the Year then? That's what doesn't make sense to me. Like if
I know.
SGA is an MVP level player, then why is he not losing credit for SGA? Because Jokic at age 25 won an MVP. SGA is 25 right now. So that's what doesn't make any sense to me. Jokic was better than SGA. So that's what I was trying to figure out. Like, I guess it's just certain players, maybe 2 in the last 25 years, apparently, that if they're just this much better than everybody, like, well, of course, I would win. I'd win 55 games too.
Yeah. I think everybody believes that their mother could coach the Nuggets to 55 wins because of the way that Jokic plays and the way that they play.
How many games do you think the Nuggets would win if your mom was the head coach?
If my mom was the head coach, they'd probably win 42.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're really good. But there's a distinct difference there. But the coach is just not going to it's not going to make too much of a difference. So now my mom would not know when to call timeouts though. That's for sure. Like
Yeah,
asking my
my mom
mom
was
to challenge calls would be
right.
that would be frustrating.
Yeah, that would be a little tough. I think doing the lineups and I think 25, 30 games in, she would get her, she would start to get understanding and know what to do, but it'll take a little bit.
It's basically what Adrian Griffin's going through right now.
That's insane. That's
Sorry,
insane,
that's a
dude.
little harsh.
But
Two,
they're winning.
yeah, no, they are. They are. Two more things here. Do you think that Denver makes a trade at the deadline?
I think they'll look, but unless you're telling me they're just outright getting Caruso or Drummond or like a Wiseman, they wouldn't do it. But Taylor Duran, I know. Like, just I'm trying to think of players they would even want.
Man,
Um,
go get Day'Ron Sharp. That would be dope. He'd be so good for Denver, but he's probably just not available.
yeah, it's probably gonna be a little more expensive. I mean, they like mobile bigs. Maybe they would take Zeke and a second round pick for Sharp or something like that.
Yeah.
Trying to think, who else would they want to get in the league? What
I,
position do you feel like they're lacking at?
yeah, I think the most
Let's
important
not
thing
say
is
backup
probably
big.
just adding
Yeah,
another backup front court player, whether it's somebody who can play next to Peyton Watson, or if Peyton's struggling in some matchups, then maybe just some other veteran that they can go to.
yeah, I
Because
just don't like Peyton at the four. I've said this. He's just not big enough. You saw what Jaron was doing to him.
yeah, but he also had some good moments in that, and like playing him next to Michael Porter, like those are 3.5s playing together. That's like Peyton Watson's playing the
Yeah,
four offensively and the
respect
three
Peyton,
defensively.
shooting guard, future shooting guard, Peyton Watson, by the way.
We'll see whether they add anybody. I tend to think that they'll add some fringe piece, but I don't think that player will play.
Right.
Last thing, do they win the championship?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think if they're healthy, anybody they're seeing, they're putting you in a box.
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, down the stretch of a game, third quarter, opening up playoff games. They're going to be a nightmare. And I think even for the Celtics, I really love what the Celtics have done. But Jamal Murray's not afraid of like tough POA defense. Like,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then they're going to pick and roll you to death. And if you're telling me you're getting like a Jamal Murray drop coverage against Kristaps and Al Horford, like Jamal Murray, I think, arguably in a playoff setting, is the most dangerous drop coverage shooter in the playoff setting. Because last year, I want to say the Timberwolves, I think he was 10 of 11 in like the first couple of games against drop coverage defense versus Rudy Gobert or something like that. Like,
Sure.
he just doesn't. If you're going to say Murray, like, we're going to give you enough space to be able to get a little step back, like, it's just not going to work. So I think that they more than likely will just be able to just hunt whoever they want. And even if you're going to play like stringent P and a POA defense, you want to stay glued. Murray and Jokic, just such good navigators. You have to bring help, and as soon as one of them collapses, KCP, Porter, AG, it's just nightmares.
If it's going to be Boston, that's going to be a war. Like that'll be really tough. Boston will make enough mistakes on the offensive end that Denver will be able to take advantage and get out and run a little bit. But if it's Milwaukee, I think Denver just hunts. Like they hunt those mismatches as much as
Dame,
they can.
Marie, Pat Connaughton, pick your poison.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of holes there. So
Giannis.
we will see what happens. I'm not worried. Like if Philly gets there, I'm obviously not really worried about Philly getting out of the second round. But
Jokic versus Al Horford in a final setting.
yeah, no, it's just different. Like because what Horford would do is the positional defense, and Jokic would be
Right.
like, "Cool, I'll just hit this floater over you." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Do you think if you had to place it now, do you think Jokic wins MVP?
No, I don't think he does. I think there will be enough momentum for other guys. Not even sure who it's going to be, but I think there are four other good candidates. I think there's Luca. I think there's Shea. I think there's Embiid, and I think there's Giannis. I think all four are deserving in their own rights. They're all putting up crazy numbers, and like Luca's kind of got that 2022 Jokic case where he's carrying a team, but Kyrie
Yeah.
hasn't played. Like Kyrie's played half of the season. Like he's played
Hmm.
17 games out of their stuff, and they're still 19 and 14. So like they're playing pretty well, and he's obviously doing everything for them. So I try to give credence to other people because like
Hmm.
Jokic is awesome. He sometimes he shows up a little bit less in the regular season now, but we just know what he's going to do in the playoffs. Like it hasn't
Hmm.
changed my opinion on him being the best of the world.
Yeah, I still think Jokic is the favorite to win just because I think the January through March stretch he's going to have is just going to be insane. He's
Sure.
already been really good the last 11 games anyway, like 70% true shooting again. I just think that right now, like the Nuggets are cooking so much that his volume is a little lower. But I think that's what's going to help. It's like the win total is going to be so high and his play is going to be so efficient and then playmaking is going to be there. But we'll see. I think if I had to pick between Luca or SGA winning, I think I actually would have SGA winning this year. If
SJ's been great, man. He's been
I
great.
just think they're going to be better. They're just going to be better than the Mavericks. And if you're going to pick a new winner, it's going to be between one of the players that has a much better record than the other.
Yeah, it's fair. I don't disagree with that, and I mean, honestly, not going to have any problem with Shea winning. He's come into
What
Denver,
what
had
if he
40.
wins Shea Gilgeous wins an MVP this year? That would be
It's amazing.
insane.
Like to be doing it in this stretch of international like bigs
Right,
would be crazy. But like,
right.
think about the players that I just listed: Jokic, Giannis, Luca, Embiid, Shea, all international, every single one.
Mhm. Would you rather have SGA or Tatum?
SGA.
That's tough. That's crazy. He
Yeah,
hasn't even done anything in the playoffs yet.
I just believe that he will. Like, I just there's nothing about his game to me that says that he won't.
Stupid over the shoulder Kobe shots he shoots, man. It's just like it's kind of like Devin Booker pull up shooting. It's just like when he's on, it's just like all right.
It's like you can't really do anything about it. It's like just you can't have anybody short anybody. So will be interesting to see, man. I'm looking forward to this year, 2024. I don't know if it's going to be as good as 2023, but we can hope. We can try. We can pray about it. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited, y'all. But that's going to do it. Let me know what you think in the comment section, y'all. Do y'all think that the Nuggets get it done in 2024? Any awards that are on their way? Also, make sure you like, share, and subscribe if we're building up the Mile High Sports YouTube channel. See y'all on the other side.